Hail and Merchant Adventures! Today I will break down all Baldur's Gate 3 classes and subclasses, how broken they are, or is this classes is just trash. I'm Spot the King, and I already made more than 100 builds, so I know a little bit about every Baldur's Gate 3 class and subclass. And I want to start with Barbarian. Barbarian is a really strong class that got 3 subclasses: Berserker, Wild Magic, and Wild Heart. Barbarian is basic martial class with a really unique feature Rage, which gives Barbarian resistance to physical damage, which is a really nice feature, because Barbarians can't wear heavy armors. But even without armor class of Barbarian will be really high, because it scales not only with dexterity but also with constitution. And let's start with our first Barbarian subclass. It will be Wild Heart Barbarian. This subclass is really diverse. You will get access to a lot of different abilities depending on what type of this Wild Heart subclass you will choose. And while there's definitely some very broken and really powerful builds like Eagle Heart Barbarian or even Tiger Heart, overall Wild Heart Barbarian, in my opinion, is like bad subclass. Yeah, you heard me right, he's like bad. For example, there's a lot of animal aspects like bear aspect or even chimpanzee, and most of them is just useless. Your carrying capacity is doubled if you pick bear, and you will have advantage on strength checks, but as barbarian you will have strength really high anyway, and possibly you will succeed on these checks every time. So if you're talking about Tiger Heart Barbarian, possibly he will be good, but overall this subclass is just bad. Our next subclass is Berserker. So, Berserker is just as easy as it could be. But even from level 3, you will get access to Frenzied Strike and Improved Rage, which is called Frenzy. While every other class gaining ability to do 2 attacks in one turn on level 5, like Fighter and other classes, this Barbarian can do it from level 3, when you're choosing this subclass. And on level 5 you already can do 3 attacks in one turn, 2 with action and 1 with bonus action. That's why, in my opinion, Berserker is really broken subclass. And next Barbarian is Wild Magic. So, Wild Magic again is really basic Barbarian, but you gain this extra cool Rage. Rage Wild Magic. Basically when you're raging, you're triggering one of the random effects. While some of these effects is like not too cool, you will get random effects every fight, and some of these effects is really amazing. My favorite is Weapon Infusion. You infuse a weapon to deal additional 1d6 force damage, which is already a really nice feat to have. But at the same time your weapon becomes light and thrown, and it will reappear in your hand at the end of your turn. So just imagine you can have best weapon in the game, super powerful big sword or axe. And now you can use it as Eldritch Knight, just throw it at your enemies, deal additional damage, and it will be back in your hands. There is no thrown weapons with high damage, but now you can have one. Also a lot of damage to enemies around you, you can make difficult terrain for your enemies, or even you can use teleport each turn. So, while again Wild Magic Barbarian is really simple, in my opinion it's a really good subclass. It's really good one. Also you can replenish your allied spell slots, so that's my opinion on Barbarian. And guys, make sure to write your comments, do you agree or disagree on my opinions and why, while we changing our subject to Bard. So Bard got 3 different subclasses. They called colleges, and it will be Lore, Sword and Valor Bard. And let's start with College of Lore Bard. Main Bard feature is to inspire your allies with bardic inspiration. They will add additional dices to their attack rolls or saving throws, so pretty nice ability to have. And Bard is kinda mix of martial class with spellcaster class, so it's supportive but offensive, basically jack of all trades. So what's so special in College of Lore? You will gain access to cutting words. You can use your reaction not to inspire your allies but to debuff your enemies. They will receive 1d6 or another dice penalty to their attack roll, ability check or saving throw. This will use your bardic inspiration charges, so you can buff your party members before fight and then use your reaction in fight to impose disadvantage on enemies. Also, College of Lore will gain access to magical secrets at level 6. That's ability to gain some spells from another classes. I'm really curious how you will rate College of Lore Bard. In my opinion, he is trash. Basically, let me explain. Using your reaction to impose disadvantage is really nice feature, but you're limited in bardic inspirations. You can't use them a lot, basically. So possibly you will use it 1 or 2 times in a battle max, if you rebuffing your party before battle. Then magical secrets is also nice feature, but again, you kinda mixed character, you're not too good at spellcasting as sorcerer or wizard will be anyway. So in my opinion, that's just a trash class. And with this opinion, we're going to Valor Bard. So Valor Bard will gain proficiency in medium armor, in shields, in martial weapons, and could be really good fighting class. Also at level 6 he will gain extra attack, which is really nice feature, but it comes level later than other martial classes. And also coolest feature of this bard is combat bardic inspiration, which not only will add to attack roll, but also to damage roll. So having additional dice in damage could be nice for your party. Other than that, it's just not as good as normal fighter, not as good in casting or supporting your party as Cleric, so in my opinion he is bad class. Maybe okay, but I will drop him to bad. I guess there's a lot more okay-ish classes than him. And we come into Sword Bard. What's up with him? Basically, you're gaining some proficiency in armor, gaining proficiency with scimitars for some reason, but main and coolest part is flourishes. You will gain access to a lot of cool features, like Battle Master Fighter. You will gain access to flourishes that will increase your upper class, and you can use it with melee and range weapons. You can attack up to 2 enemies at once, so in some circumstances you can basically from level 3 do 2 attacks in 1 turn. If you're fighting more than 1 enemy, you can't do this 2 attacks to 1 enemy, but still spreading damage is also nice too. And also, while all previous types of classes we already covered in this tier list, in my opinion is really good as solo classes, this Sword Bard is really nice for multi-classing. You can make a nice Barbarian with him, like Bard Paladin, you can make Bard Warlock, a lot of cool builds with this type of Bard. So that's why I guess this class is really broken. And it's time to rank Clerics. So Cleric got a lot more subclasses: Knowledge, Life, Light, Nature, Tempest, Trickery, and War Domain Cleric. Let's rank them all. Every Cleric will get some spells, turn undead features, destroy undead features. Every Cleric will get Divine Intervention on level 10, so you can summon super cool legendary weapon. But based on your subclass, you will gain different divinity charges. Basically, you're like super Cleric features and also domain spells. So let's start with Cleric of Life. When you're starting as Life Cleric, whenever you casting a healing spell, you will heal more health points to your allies. And your domain spells will be mostly healing spells, so you always will be able to cure wounds, bless your allies, and you can use channel divinity charges to heal your allies too. So that's like super healing Cleric, and sounds like a really good and powerful supportive character. While this Cleric is definitely a really good supportive character, using your spell slots to heal your party when party is still alive most of the time is not most optimal decision. And based on the balance of the game, you won't be able to actually out-heal damage output of enemies, on most of your party members of course. And really good time to use your spells, healing spells, when party member downed, just to pick him up without using action, for example. And while you will heal a lot of health to him, most of the time it's not enough to survive 2 shots anyway. So it doesn't matter do you have really these heal proficiencies as Cleric or not. That's why, in my opinion, this Cleric is okay. He's okay. He's not bad, but not good either. And I guess we can go to Light Cleric. So what Light Cleric can do? First of all, you got Warding Flare. You can use your reaction to impose disadvantage on attacker, and you can do it even when attackers attacking your allies. In my opinion, really powerful stuff. It saved me a lot of time. Very useful because you can see if this hit is actually critical strike or not before it hits. So, in case it's critical strike, you just impose disadvantage, and even if enemy hits, it's no longer critical strike, so it can save you a lot of time. Also, your domain spells is really unique. You got Burning Hands, Fairy Fire, and when you level up, you will gain Fireball and other powerful fire spells. And Channel Divinity Action. From level 2, you can do 2d10 plus character level, radiant damage in a really large area around you. Very useful and powerful ability. And this cleric, while can still support your allies, can do really crazy amount of damage to enemies. In my opinion, that's really broken cleric. And we go into Trickery Cleric now. That's base Shadowheart subclass. So where we do rank this cleric? First of all, you get a Blessing of the Trickster. You can grant another creature advantage on stealth checks. This can help your rogue to pickpocket enemies if you play normal and trying to improve your money situation, like pretty normally, by pickpocketing people. But some domain spells is not really useful, like Charm Person, Disguise Self. While it can be used in some situations, they're pretty niche spells and you can definitely live in this game without these spells. Your divinity action is Invoke Duplicity, so you can summon illusion to distract your enemies. And you and your allies will receive advantage on attack rolls against creature if it stands nearby this illusion. So there's a lot of but in this cleric. While you can definitely combine this cleric with some classes like Stealth Archer, for example, to cast Pass Without Trace on this archer, with greater invisibility from some wizard, there's some combinations. Most of spells for this cleric, most of the abilities is just not too useful and won't improve your party power a lot. It's hard to say this cleric is trash, but maybe just bad. Let's put him here. And let's get to our Knowledge Domain Cleric. As Knowledge Domain Cleric, you will gain proficiency of your choice in Arcana, History, Nature, or Religion. Very cool. You will gain some domain spells like Command and Sleep, which is always learned. When you level up, you will get more spells like this, pretty control spells, something like this. And also, your Channel Divinity action is Knowledge of Ages. You gain more proficiency in all skills of chosen ability. So, you can kinda use this cleric as a multi-class for jack of all trades kinda character, skill monkey, how D&D players called it. But mostly abilities is just useless, supportive abilities is not too powerful, and damaging abilities is just meh. So it's hard to place this cleric higher than just trash can. So knowledge is trash, guys. You don't need knowledge, you need power. And we go into Nature Domain Cleric. This cleric gains proficiency in heavy armor, pretty nice to be powerful, and some cantrips and spells like from kinda druid spell list. Druids is nature, wizards, or whatever, so this cleric is kinda nature, cleric, druid, whatever you can call him. I will call this cleric is just trash and never play him. And let's go to next one. Next is Tempest Domain Cleric. You gain proficiency in heavy armor in martial weapons, so you already pretty nice fighter with every armor and weapon choice you like. At the same time, on level 1, you will gain ability to use reaction to strike back on attacking creature with lightning or thunder damage. Your domain spells is thunder, lightning, like fog cloud spells, a lot of cool and powerful spells. And from level 2 and so on, you will gain Channel Divinity action, Destructive Wrath. When you're rolling thunder or lightning damage, you can use this charge and reaction to deal maximum damage instead. So, Tempest Domain Cleric. You can play him as solo character, and he will be really powerful. I mean, you can play him as solo class character. You don't need any multi-class and other stuff. Or you can use just 2 levels of this cleric to improve damage of Lightning Wizard or Sorcerer for really powerful multi-class option. A lot of cool spells. He is really protective, he is really tanky, can use any armor without additional feats. So, broken. My verdict, he is broken. Really powerful, best class, super good cleric. And last but not least, Cleric of War Domain. So again, you gain proficiency with all weapons, with heavy armors, with spells from your domain, that will increase your armor class or some abilities to inflict damage, so pretty nice. Your divinity action, you will gain +10 bonus to your attack roll, so you really will have high hit chance, which is pretty nice for supportive character, because you can't just go all in on strength. You need some wisdom to cast your spells. But coolest feature of this cleric is War Priest charges. You will gain some, they will recharge on long rest, and you will gain ability to use additional attack as bonus action. So, from level 1 you can do 2 attacks in one turn. While it could sound really broken, other abilities of this cleric is not too powerful. He can be used for dipping into one class to gain this ability to attack with bonus action a few times. It's pretty buggy right now, so this cleric is really powerful. I can't say our cleric is really broken. Maybe he is good, but in my opinion he is just okay. He is just okay, you know, he definitely not bad one, but maybe a little bit weaker than Wild Magic Barbarian. And that's our clerics. Let's jump to druids, which are represented with 3 subclasses: Land, Moon and Spore Druid. Every druid will gain access to wild shapes, so every druid can be animal in some form, with additional health pool, which is really nice, and also some nice abilities as wild shapes. And we will start with Land Druid. So this druid gain more cantrips. He can replenish spell slots outside of the combat, and basically we can call this druid as caster class. So you're doing some casting, you're doing some spells, and you will gain access to a lot of spells when you're leveling up. A lot of spells that possibly other druids even can't learn. So that's nice. Still, as spellcaster, I will compare him to some kind of sorcerers, wizards, and other classes. He's kind of cleric in some way because he can heal his allies, it's supportive class, zone controlling class, but mostly your animal forms will be pretty weak because you need to use action to become animal, and you need to concentrate on some spell before you can become an animal, and then possibly someone will just drop you out of this animal form, so you will become normal again, you will break your concentration. That's why, in my opinion, land druids are bad. Yeah, they can be nice, but comparing them to other classes, they're not trash, but just bad. And we're going to our next druid is Moon Druid. Moon Druids. Yeah, everyone like Moon Druids, and there's a reason for this. You can become animal with bonus action. You gain access to bear form, which is really powerful in early game. And basically all your animal shapes will be a lot more powerful. You will gain more attacks while you're in these shapes, and actually you can do kind of 2 shapes in one fight. So you can be in the shape of bear, for example, you will die, then you can become again bear, you will die again, and still you will be druid with full health. And on max levels this druid will have 3 attacks as wild shape in one turn, and only one class can do it, fighter. But fighter got only 1 life, while Moon Druid got 3 lives basically, with ability to spellcast, to support his party, to heal his party. In my opinion, Moon Druid is just broken. He's just insane, guys. I got super cool and complete guide for Moon Druid. In case you're interested, you can watch it. I will get link for this Moon Druid guide in the description. But you know, he's broken, so definitely give him a try. And Spore Druid. In my opinion, one of the most fun druids, because you can have a lot of different types of Spore Druid when you play him. You can play him as caster, you can play him as multi-class options with other classes, but mostly you, instead of becoming animal, you're becoming symbiotic spore guy. You will gain temporary hit points and ability to inflict additional damage on your attacks. So pretty fun multi-class for monks and other guys who are doing a lot of attacks in one turn. And also you can use your reaction to do just a little bit of necrotic damage, but again, it's a reaction, it's kind of free action, if you ask me. And in my opinion, one of really most fun play druids. I really enjoy Spore Druids a lot, they're really fun, cool, and I would say he's broken, but no, guys. Spore Druid is not broken because main damage type will be necrotic damage, and it's hard to find targets that are not resistant to necrotic damage in the end game, especially. Also, you're really stat dependent, and while you gain in some extra hit points, your hit points is not as high as Moon Druid. And while your reaction doing some damage, it's really tiny bit of damage. That's why actually Spore Druid is just okay. You know, just middle tier, pretty nice, but not too powerful. But you know who's powerful? Fighters. Fighter is really powerful class, which have Battle Master, Champion, and Eldritch Knight subclasses. And we will start with basically describing what is Fighter is. So, one of the fan favorite actions for Fighter is Action Surge, which gives you additional action in the fight, and you will do a lot more damage, a lot more attacks, so burst potential is insane. Also, if you're going like complete Fighter road, instead of just picking him as a little multi-class dip, you gain in a lot more feats, so at max level you will gain 4 feats instead of just 3 feats with other classes, and also you will gain improved extra attack at level 11, so you can do 3 attacks with your action in one turn, which is really broken, guys, really broken. So just on base list of fighter abilities, I can say fighters is just super powerful, and you can place just fighter in broken tier. But for fighters, I will try to determine which fighter is kind of best one, and let's just find out which is like best subclass. So we're starting with Battle Master. Battle Master, that's our Battle Master. So Battle Master is one of the coolest fighters. You will gain superiority dice, which replenished on short rests, so you can use them in every fight. After every fight, you just short rest, regain some health, and these dice. These dice give you additional dice to damage, but also you're doing additional stuff with your attacks. For example, you can push enemies, you can disarm enemies, you can make enemies prone or just frighten them so they will be stuck in one place, or you can use this dice to add result to your attack roll, so you will have high chance to hit your enemies. Basically, this fighter is best fighter in the game with these abilities, and you can definitely tell this type of fighter is just broken. On top of normal fighter abilities with a lot of damage, just by being a fighter, you gaining a lot more damage with these dice, and basically if you want some broken class, play Battle Master Fighter. Easy to play, easy to understand, and super powerful. Next one is Eldritch Knight. So, what Eldritch Knight can do? Eldritch Knight gains spell slots and can cast some spells from wizard spell list. Spell slots will be a lot lower level than normal wizards and other spellcasters. When you level up, you will gain access to cast cantrip and then use bonus action to do extra attack. That sounds cool, but there's always but. You will gain this ability on high levels. So this means when you already can do like 3 attacks in one turn, you don't want to waste them just for one cantrip, most of the time. And basically all futures from Eldritch Knight is mostly useless. Like, you know, Bond weapon, for example, this weapon can be knocked out of your hand. Yeah, sometimes you will face some enemies that can knock out your weapon, but come on, it's not happening too much. Eldritch Knight is just trash. Maybe he can good in some circumstances, but not in this game. And next fighter is Champion. So what Champion can do is basically the same that normal fighter can do. It's basically super normal fighter without any extra features. You just get some additional passive features, like improved critical hit, so you will reduce number that you need to roll for critical hit. Also, you will increase number, or better say distance you can jump for, and some proficiency in some checks and other stuff, so just pretty basic fighter. While being pretty basic fighter, we can say Champion is really like okay tier. But this reducing number in critical hit is really more than just high chance to crit and do just single instance of your weapon damage in one hit. Reducing this number also means you won't miss. So for example, if enemy got super high armor class and you only need to roll critical hit to hit this enemy, and there's some enemies like this with some weapon, reducing number to roll critical hit will increase chances to hit these enemies dramatically. That's why he's a really good one. I mean, fighter's broken. He's definitely not like broken subclass for fighter, but he's really good one. But Battle Master is just broken, and Eldritch Knight is just trash, come on. Prove me wrong in the comments as always, and we're going to Monk. So Monk comes with 3 subclasses: Open Hand, Shadow, and 4-element Monk. And monks learn a lot of stuff on the way. They get in a lot of cool stuff like unarmed movement, a lot of movement speed, but coolest and most secret part of the monk, they gain in more damage with unarmed strikes when they level up. So from level 9 you will do 1d8 damage with your fists. Really powerful stuff. So what is good subclass? Let's start with 4-element monk. Unique feature of monks is key points. They use it to use monk abilities. And for this type of monk, you can use these points to cast spells. The spells, while looking like wizard spells or just any like basic spells, got different stats, different damage rolls, and other stuff. Overall, monk is really powerful class, but spells that 4-element monk gets is not too cool. And my main pain point for this monk is actually how much key points you will use on these spells. For example, Flames of Phoenix will use your action and 4 key points to do 8d6 of fire damage. So that's really powerful fireball, but using a lot of key points, and you won't be able to use a lot of them. Still, variety and ability to adapt to different situations is really powerful for this type of monk. So I would place him in OK tier. Because our next monk is Open Hand Monk, and who knows how powerful this guy is. For example, this monk will use key points to use Flurry of Blows with additional attributes. You can stagger or topple your enemy or even push your enemy. Also from higher levels, from level 6, you will gain passives that will add additional damage plus your wisdom modifier of your chosen damage type. You can do it necrotic or radiant or psychic damage with your fists. And who don't know, Flurry of Blows is basically double hand strike. So for just 1 key point, you can use bonus action to do 2 attacks in 1 bonus section basically, with a lot of additional damage. And if you compare him to other monks, and especially to 4-element monk, this guy is really broken, guys. It's like one of the most broken classes in the game, and I'm not even considering builds. If you're going for Tavern Brawler, Open Hand Monk, it just rocks. If you want to just wreck this game, destroy every enemy with highest damage possible in this game, go for Open Hand Monk and just watch how your enemies is deleted. Also, I got cool build for Warlock as Open Hand Monk, or you can use it on any other character, watch in the description, while we're going to Shadow Monk. So, that's my favorite monk. Again, I like playing broken and powerful characters, but most of the time, I like characters that is really strong, but not too broken. And Shadow Monk is one of these characters. That's one of your monks which is pretty basic and looks like Rogue, because he can teleport in shadows, from one shadow to another shadow, and your key point abilities just creating some shadows or silencing enemies, or just giving you ability to teleport. So, one of the cool features of this monk, you're not supposed to only use your hand attacks, you can use them as bonus action, and you can use normal weapons pretty reliably and be like Shadow Ninja, because after you Shadow Step, you will gain advantage on next melee attack roll, so getting advantage is really nice ability to land some critical strikes, and by having high mobility in fights, it will be really hard to hit you. So, this Shadow Monk, in my opinion, is good one. And it's time to go to your favorite class, I guess. A lot of people play in this class. It's Paladin, of course. Paladin comes with 4 subclasses. It's Oath of Ancients, Devotion, Vengeance, or if you break your oath, you will become Oath Breaker. Every Paladin will gain access to Divine Smite, which inflicting a lot of radiant damage on your enemies on hit. Very powerful ability, which just makes Paladins broken most of the time, because damage output and increase is really insane, especially from 2nd level and above. Most of the time it's doing even more than twice of your normal weapon attack. That's why Paladins are so powerful, and mostly Paladins is like good or broken classes. So which subclass will be best? let's go. Oath of Ancients. That's again kinda nature paladin. Paladins can use channel oath charges for some stuff, very unique stuff. Ancient paladin can use channel oath to heal himself or his allies. From level 3 and above, you can use Nature of Rust, which can entangle enemies, and you and your allies will have advantage on attack rolls against this target, but again it uses Channel Oath and also Action. Or you can even turn nearby Fees and Fiends. Coolest part about this paladin is his Oath spell and Snaring Strike, which is pretty unique spell, only for Ranger mostly, but this paladin get access to this spell. So Oath of Vengeance paladin, where we can put this guy. Among all paladins, I would say he is kinda bad, guys. He is bad. Yeah, paladins is strong, but this guy is just awful. Because his abilities mostly uses actions, and you don't want to waste precious actions that you can use to inflict Divine Smites on your enemies. From level 5 you can do 2 Divine Smites in one turn, because you can attack 2 times. So basically wasting a lot of nice and powerful damage just to try and maybe restrain your enemies. So maybe Oath of Devotion will be better. So Oath of Devotion Paladin. You can use your Oath charge to grant Vengeful Aura that deals 1d4 radiant damage. Again, my main problem with this spell, it uses your action and lasts only for 2 turns. So you're wasting 1 action to maybe deal 2d4 radiant damage on attackers, but they need to hit you, so super weak. From level 3 you will gain Sacred Weapon. I like this one. Basically using your action and you turning your weapon into Sacred Weapon and adding your Charisma to attack rolls, increasing your chances to hit. Very nice for early levels, and your Oath spells will give you protection from some guys. So pretty protective paladin with some increasing chance to hit enemies, and I would say he is okay. He's really okay, that's nice abilities to have, and also they wearing blue paladin armor, which is really nice and beautiful. But you know what, when Vengeance Paladin don't care about this beautiful stuff. Vengeance Paladin can improve his or his allies' weapons to deal additional radiant damage equal to your charisma modifier, and also can daze enemies, which is really powerful. But one of the most powerful stuff is Vow Enmity. Right now it bugged a little bit, so you should cast it on your enemy and gain advantage on attack rolls against this enemy. Most of the time you need advantage on attack rolls against bosses with high armor class, so that's come in handy considering you're using only bonus action to cast this, so that's super powerful and cool. There is no saving throw, so you just cast it and you gain this advantage. But right now there's bug actually, that you can cast it on yourself and gain advantage on all attack rolls against every enemy you see. Super powerful, really crazy, broken, and any other name you can tell for this spell. Also, you gain Hunter's Mark, so you get use with your bonus action every turn. First turn you can cast Vow Enmity, second turn Hunter's Mark to inflict additional damage with each attack. And even without this bug of Vow Enmity, in my opinion, this paladin is broken. So no matter there's bug right now or not, broken, really powerful paladin. And we come in maybe to your favorite Oath Breaker. So breaking oath is really easy to do. Sometimes it's fun, sometimes it's not, when you don't want to break it and it just comes. Basically Oath Breaker gaining a lot of different stuff with his oath spells, and he can control undead. Well, there's a lot of fun stuff you can do with undeads. You can find some undeads and control them. It can be really fun to control some undeads. I won't spoil a lot of stuff in here, maybe you already saw it in other videos. And thematically he is really cool and powerful. But again, there's always some but. Before I would say Oathbreaker is good. He's evil of course, but he's good. He's good subclass. Because Oathbreaker on level 7 getting this aura of hate. You and all nearby fiends and undead gain additional damage to melee attack with your weapons, equal to your charisma modifier. So you want high charisma with Paladin anyway, and getting flat damage around like 5-6 flat damage is really cool. Also, before I would combine him with, for example, Necromancer, but there's a problem. It uses only weapon attacks. Undeads that you summon won't have these weapon attacks. So, this Aura of Hate works on nearby fiends and undeads only when you control these undeads, then you can benefit from it. Other than that, when you fight in fiends and undeads, they will benefit from this aura too, because it works not only on your allies, but on every fiend or undead nearby. So with Oathbreaker, you can actually buff your enemies when you fight in fiends and undeads, with additional damage from your charisma modifier. And while I still think it's really fun to play, and there's a lot of some niche and really cool fun builds with him, like I posted Mintara build lately that uses Oathbreaker with Warlock. It's still really good and fun build. Actually, Oathbreaker is just trash. So let's open this can. Oathbreaker goes down here. And we go into Ranger. So Ranger is one of my favorite classes, with Hunter, Beastmaster and Gloom Stalker subclasses. When you're leveling Ranger, you will get Favored Enemy and Natural Explorer. That will unlock you some proficiency in skills or even in heavy armor. You gain resistance to cold or fire damage, a lot of cool stuff. Also, you will gain extra attack as any other martial class, but only once. You won't get third extra attack as fighter at level 11, and you gain in one fighting style, which is pretty nice too. But choices will be limited, so you won't get access to every fighting style as fighter. Let's start with Hunter. So, what is cool about Hunter, what he can do? Basically, you gain in this interesting choice from level 3 when you begin Hunter. Do you want to be Colossus Slayer, Giant Killer or Horde Breaker? Horde Breaker gives you ability to attack 2 enemies, but there is always but, as I told you, they need to stand close. So for example, if we're talking about Sword Bard, you can attack 2 enemies at once and they don't need to be close. With Hunter Ranger, they need to be close. Giant Killer is pretty interesting. When large creatures attacks you, you can use reaction to make melee attack. So it can come in handy, but there's a lot of circumstances to activate this stuff. Creature need to attack you need to use reactions, and creature need to be large. So that's why I most of the time pick in Colossus Slayer that just adds 1d8 damage if target below hit point maximum. With other Hunter abilities like Hunter's Mark that adds additional dices to your damage, it's pretty nice bonus, and in my opinion Hunter Ranger is okay. I just can't put him higher. To Shadow Monk, to just any other fighter, he's a little bit weaker than normal fighters anyway. Fighters is just superior, with bows, with swords, with any other weapon. But what about Beastmaster Ranger? So Beastmaster Ranger got his Beastmaster Ranger friend. You can summon companion, and there's different companions. Coolest part, they will level up with you and they will become stronger, and they will be even more useful than you in some circumstances. There's different companions like Bear Companion, which is really powerful and he can frighten his enemies. Boar, he can knock enemies off their feet. A Raven that can blind enemies, very useful against ranged targets. And Wolf Companion, which doing pretty nice damage. Or Spider, spiders is just cool. And while you as a ranger won't be really powerful, having additional body in a fight, which can do a lot of different stuff like pushing enemies off their feet, blind them, is really useful in my opinion. So Beastmaster is definitely good. In my opinion, it's just a little bit better than Hunter. Still, I enjoy playing Hunter more, but the truth is Beastmaster is really more powerful than Hunter. And we go into fan favorite, Gloom Stalker. You gain in bonus to initiative, so most of the time you will act first in the fight, and when you act in first, you will gain additional movement speed, so you can take best position in the fight possible. At the same time, you will gain access to additional attack that you can make only when turn starts, that will do additional damage and uses no action or bonus action. Oh my goodness, guys. It's just broken, I don't need to tell you. Gloom Stalker is just insanely broken ranger, very powerful one. He deserves to be in this row with other broken characters. And now let's talk about Rogue. So, Rogue. There's 3 different rogues: Arcane Trickster, Thief and Assassin. Main feature for Rogue is sneak attack. When you get advantage on your enemy or ally standing nearby, you will do additional damage once per turn, and damage is really nice and scaling with rogue levels. Also, every rogue will gain access to cunning actions, dash, disengage or hide that can be used with bonus action, pretty useful to trigger the sneak attack from time to time. But main problem for rogue is not getting extra attacks from level 5. You're getting some protection with uncanny dodge, gaining some evasion from level 7, but mostly you don't have a lot of cool stuff. And there's kinda two types of rogue we can talk about. Rogue as solo class or rogue as multi-class. As multi-class, rogue is just cool and very good. Even just 2 levels in rogue without any subclass can be good, just to be able to use this dash action as bonus action. And from time to time you can trigger these sneak attacks. But we're talking about subclasses today mostly. So let's start with Arcane Trickster. Arcane Trickster is really cool and unique rogue, kinda like Eldritch Knight. You're rogue, but you can cast a lot of illusion and enchantment spells, so you can stand in the shadows and cast the spells to disable your enemies, then you can land juicy critical hits, but guys, mostly this guy goes to Eldritch Knight, to the trash can. And we're going to another good and really useful rogue, Assassin. Yeah, maybe you want me to talk about more, like a little bit more about Arcane Trickster, but guys, he's just trash. He's unique, interesting to play, but in power levels, he's just useless. But Assassin is really nice. First of all, any successful attack roll against surprised enemy will be critical hit. If creature haven't taken a turn yet, you gain advantage on attack roll against this creature, so you will always trigger sneak attack on this creature, which is really nice too. And also you will regain your action bonus action at the start of the combat, so even if you start in combat by attacking, you will regain this action instantly, so you can attack once more. Very useful if you try to surprise your enemies. So what is problems with Assassin? As a subclass, for some guys like Gloom Stalker, in my opinion, he's super good. Just pick few levels in Assassin and just enjoy these juicy critical hits against surprised enemies, and really like good subclass. But if we compare Assassin to other martial classes like Ranger and other guys, your main problem will be that you don't have this extra attack from level 5. So while you can land these juicy critical hits, you can do it only once per turn most of the time, or if you're using dual-wielded weapons, you can do it twice. Other than that, you will become like pretty basic rogue without any cool feature at all. So this subclass is basically useless. Still, he's not so trash as Arcane Trickster, that's why Assassin is a bad one. And what about Thief Rogue? So Thief Rogue, if we're talking about multi-classing, he is like broken, because coolest part about Thief Rogue, you will gain additional bonus action. So super useful if your classes can use this bonus action to attacks and maybe to cast some spells especially, so get like 3 levels in this Thief Rogue, gain bonus action and just cast 3 spells in one turn with bonus action twice as Sorcerer by using sorcery points, or just use them however you like. Other than that, again, you're like pretty basic rogue without a lot of cool stuff. Still, even having 2 bonus actions give you kind of 1 extra attack with offhand weapon in case you want to do it, or you're gaining more abilities to engage and disengage, so you can use 1 bonus action to dash, come to your enemy, attack him once, and then use this action again to disengage, for example, and run away. It will be hard to catch you, or you can use it to hide and trigger sneak attacks more often. So this class is really okay even as solo class. And slowly but steadily we came into Sorcerer. Sorcerer comes with 3 subclasses: Draconic Bloodline, Wild Magic, and Storm Sorcery. While sorcerers won't be able to get a lot of spells, they can use metamagic to increase power of the spells or cast more spells in one turn, which is really good and powerful. And we start with Wild Magic Sorcerer. Wild Magic Sorcerer got a list of random effects that can trigger when this sorcerer casting spells. Having some random stuff is not really cool in most of the circumstances, but in defense of Wild Magic Sorcerer, I would say a lot of this stuff is really useful. For example, you can restore sorcery points based on spells you're casting, or even you can have additional action this turn. Telekinesis, which is level 5 spell, and you can get this spell basically from level 1. So a lot of crazy stuff, but a lot of useful stuff too. I will make run with 4 wild magic sorcerers very soon, so make sure to subscribe so you're not missing it. But right now we're trying to figure out what is tier for this subclass. In my opinion, in reality, wild magic sorcerer is bad. He is fun. If we make a fun tier list, he will be here. It's just insanely fun. But sometimes you just need to finish a lot of enemies with fireball. You cast this fireball, and when it lands, instead of killing enemies, it heals enemies. Yeah, it happened to me. I just changed my fireballs to heal balls. That's crazy and pretty useless at the same time, so he is bad. Now let's go to Draconic Bloodline Sorcerer. So Draconic Bloodline Sorcerer will gain Draconic Resilience, which increases your armor class when you're not wearing armor, which is really useful if you're playing as mage with mage armors. And there's a lot of powerful armor. When your hit point maximum increases by 1 for each sorcerer level, it's nice addition too. So you not like fragile glass cannon. You're really hard to hit target and with high hit points. And at the same time you can pick your Draconic Ancestry, which gives you additional spells. Most of the spells can be used and learned by you anyway, but some spells like Armor of Agathos is very unique. And again it will increase your power level because it will be harder to knock you down. These few reasons makes Draconic Bloodline Sorcerer broken. Let me put the throw here. As Sorcerer, he's doing incredible amount of damage with a lot of spells, and at the same time he can do spell damage with more power, and next Sorcerer is Storm Sorcery. One of the biggest problems for mages is inability to move in a combat. They got really low movement speed, it's easy to hit them, it's easy to knock them down, but not when you're playing Storm Sorcerer. After casting a spell, you can fly as bonus action in this turn. So, basically this means you can reposition yourself to any place in the combat. And with best position, it's hard to hit you, and you can keep concentration on powerful spells, or you can attack from right angles you need, you can escape enemies, very powerful stuff, and this guy instantly can fly into broken tier. Because at the same time, you gain one of the most powerful lightning spells when you play in the Spore Sorcerer, called Lightning, with the ability to cast water, which increases damage of lightning spells, and basically if you want to play as Lightning Sorcerer, pick Storm Sorcery Sorcerer every time and have fun. He is really broken one. But what can we tell about Warlocks? So Warlock comes with 3 different subclasses: Archefey, Fiend and Great Old One. And actually, there's not a lot of difference in these subclasses. Main power of Warlock lies in basic Warlock class. You get in Eldritch Invocations, Eldritch Blast, and every Warlock will have these Eldritch Invocations and Eldritch Blast. The most powerful cantrip in the game with most damage from cantrips, and basically Warlock overall is a really powerful class. So what can we tell about his subclasses? Let's start with Fiend. Fiend Warlock. Whenever you reduce a hostile creature to 0 hit points, you're regaining some health points as temporary hit points. You're basically gaining them. It will be your charisma modifier per last Warlock level. Nice bonus on early levels, but pretty mediocre one on later levels. When you're leveling up, you will also learn Burning Hands, and Scorching Ray, and Fireball, so some light spells, fire spells. And also when you're making ability checks, you can roll additional 1d10 to maybe succeed on this check. I like these 3 spells because Scorching Ray, Fireball is really useful ones, and being able to know them without learning them gives you ability to learn more spells with some more utility. Gaining temporary hit points is nice, but most of the time you will use Armor of Agathos anyway to increase your lifespan of your Warlock, and basically it will be useless ability from Fiend. Still, Fiend is really good class in my opinion, really powerful one. But what we can tell about Great Old One? So Great Old One, whenever you critical hit enemy, they need to succeed Wisdom saving throw or become frightened. Frightened means they will be stuck in one place, and you as a range caster most of the time will be free to just run away or just bombard them with spells later on. Spells that you will learn for free is Tasha's Hydus Laughter, and also Phantasmal Forest is really useful sometime. Most of other spells is not too cool. On level 6 you will have Entropic Ward, you can impose disadvantage on attack roll against you. And if this attack misses, you will gain advantage on your next attack roll. So it will give you more chances to land critical hit on your next attack. Great Old One is really powerful subclass, especially considering as Warlock you can do a lot of attack rolls in one turn. On later levels you will do at least 3 Eldritch Blasts in one turn, so it's really high chance to critical hit your enemies, and every enemy around you possibly will be frightened, will stuck in place, and you will be safe. So Warlocks is just really powerful ones, and Great Old One is broken among them all. You know, just S tier Warlock. What about Archefey? So Archefey got access to a lot of spells and ability to charm or frighten nearby foes that recharges on short rest. Being able to frighten enemies is pretty nice, as you already know, and spell list is pretty okay too. Phantasmal Force, Fairy Fire, Sleep, useful stuff. But then on level 5 you just gain in Blink and Plant Growth, which is pretty useless in my opinion. And also on level 6 you gain a Misty Step, which basically makes you invisible if you take in some damage. And on your next turn you can cast Misty Step just for free. So Archefey is really useful if you're planning to use your Warlock as supportive controlling class, just being able to mitigate any damage he takes. And as Warlock he is really powerful anyway, but still, you know, there's a lot of powerful classes like Fighter for example, but you know where Eldritch Knight is? Somewhere nearby will be Archefey, in my opinion. He's just, you know, trash Warlock. Why to play him if you can go with Great Old One and be a lot more powerful? So that's my trash can, topped with Archefey Warlock on top right now. But we will top this category a lot because we're going into Wizard. Yeah, Wizard got a lot of subclasses: Abjuration, Conjuration, Divination, Enchantment, Evocation, Illusion, Necromancy, and Transmutation. Let's talk about them now. But first of all, what Wizard actually can do. Wizard can recharge his arcane charges every long rest, which will recharge spell slots of your choice. So pretty nice to be able to recharge your spell slot. Wizard can learn any spell in the game that can be learned with spell scrolls, so pretty cool in future too. But problem, while you gain access to a lot of spells, your spells is not as powerful as Sorcerer spells, because you can't enchant them, and you won't be able to have these Eldritch invocations like Warlock. There's a lot of powerful ones, so Wizards is really like jack of all trades mage. While not being really powerful in any aspect, he can do anything magic related. And let's start with Abjuration Wizard. So every wizard subclass will have cost that you're paying to learn spells from his school. So Abjuration Wizard will have cost of abjuration spells. And main feature of this Abjuration Wizard is Arcane Ward. When you cast in abjuration spells, this ward will gain more charges, and every time you take in damage, this ward will block some damage equal to this ward charges and will be decreased by 1. Also with this ward you can protect your allies at the same time. So what I can tell you about Abjuration Wizard. While it's not looks like really amazing skills, if you know how to build him, he can be broken and actually one of the most broken characters in the game. Still, overall, he's just good one. It's really good ability, you know, and without really special builds and other stuff, he will be good. He won't be broken if you don't know like some secrets how to build him. Also make sure to comment if you want these secrets on my channel and subscribe, and let's go to the next one. Conjuration Wizard. So, Conjuration Wizard. You can create water. What a surprise. While it can be cool if you're using some lightning spells, so you can create water and then do lightning damage, you won't be able to do it as Sorcerer. So Sorcerer can use bonus action to create water with sorcery points and then use lightning spells at the same turn, very powerful stuff. And basically most coolest feature of Conjuration Wizard comes at level 10. Any damage you take while you're concentrating on Conjuration spell will not break your concentration. Sounds cool, but what is Conjuration spells? There is list of some. Cold Lightning, Spirit Guardians, Hunger of Hader, Insect Plague, all very powerful spells. But there is no spell scrolls for these spells, so only one spell that you can cast as Conjuration Wizard to keep this conjuration to inflict damage to your enemies is Cloud Kill. In my opinion, very powerful and cool spell. It's nice to be able not to break concentration when you casting the spell. Also, in the late game, when you find Marka Heshkir, you can use Kereshka Favor and cast Hunger of Hader as Wizard. And this can be powerful, but again, power is really limited. Still, this wizard is good in my opinion. Being able to cast Hunger of Hader without breaking your concentration is pretty cool. Cloud Kill is cool too, but not broken actually. So what can I tell you about Divination Wizard? Divination Wizard can affect your future. Your dreams grant you glimpses that lets you influence the future. After each long rest, you gain 2 random potent dices, and you can use them whenever you wish. Basically, you gain random dices, you can use them on your enemies or on your allies. So low dices goes to enemies, they will miss you. High dices go to allies, they will probably get guaranteed critical hit or some other stuff. When you level up, you gain more dices, and in the late game you will gain ability to see some invisible creatures, which is nice, but not too useful in the late game anyway. I guess you will get access to some see invisibility actions without this wizard. Still, being able to change dices for yourself or your allies or your enemies for any other situation sometimes can be useful. So this wizard is definitely okayish. He's not bad, he's really fun, okayish wizard. Next wizard is Enchantment Wizard. So you gain some protection with Charm as a reaction, so possibly when enemies trying to attack you multiple times, they possibly will stop and try to attack other targets, but real power of this class comes at level 10. You know your enchantments inside and out. You can target 2 creatures with enchantment spells that would normally only target 1 creature. And that's list of enchantment spells. Really big list, really powerful spells in here. So if you need some supportive controlling mage, he is really good. I can't say wizard is broken. Sorry guys, I can't say it. But this guy is good. What can I say about Evocation Wizard? Evocation Wizard is most basic wizard you can imagine. Basically, his super ability is Sculpt spells. When you cast in evocation spells, your allies automatically succeed saving throws and take no damage from these spells. On level 6 your cantrips will start to do more damage, so it's pretty nice too. And at level 10, you will increase damage of your invocation spells with intelligence modifier. But actually most powerful stuff of this wizard comes from level 2 in my opinion, ability to cast evocation spells without damaging your allies. So, you don't need to think about positioning anymore. Your allies standing nearby of enemies, in chaotic pattern, just cast Fireball. Your allies won't take any damage. That's why Evocation Wizard in my opinion is OP. Because position is a king, and when you need to think about position too much, it can be dicey, not with Evocation Wizard. But what about Illusion Wizard? Illusion Wizard gives you the ability to cast Minor Illusion as bonus action, and you can remain hidden while casting the spell. From level 6 you will be able to see invisible without consuming spell slot, and from level 10 you can make enemies to miss you with reaction, and that's pretty useful. So, overall, casting Minor Illusion with bonus action can be fun because wizards don't have really a lot of uses of bonus action most of the time, and Minor Illusion can distract enemies even in a fight. That's why really nice addition to your wizard arsenal. So where can we put this Illusion Wizard? I would say he's good. He's good. I mean, okay. Not good, not bad, just okayish. Necromancer. Yeah, Necromancy Wizard. My favorite guy in this list. I think Necromancers is really cool and fun to play. Once per turn, if you kill creature with the spell, you regain hit points equal or to twice of the spell slot level used. So basically you cast in spell slot level 2 and you will regain 4 hit points. And triple if it was Necromancy spell. From level 6 you will gain Animate Death for free, and your Animate Deaths, basically your undeads, will be more powerful, they will do more damage and will increase their hit points. From level 10 you gain a cool feature that is never used in this game because creatures won't be able to reduce your hit point maximum anyway. So pretty useless feature from level 10. Nice feature from level 6 to increase power of your undeads, but there's always but. Mostly it's pretty useless class. Undeads, no matter they buffed or not, will be not really powerful anyway. Regaining health even when killing enemies is not needed if you're super powerful. For example, if you Evocation Wizard, you just drop Fireball on your enemies and your allies and no one takes damage. But with this wizard you need to think about positioning, about other stuff. If you're focusing on Necromancy spells, this will be a lot of hard times for you. And just for wizard, I can't put him into trash can. In my opinion, one of the most fun classes to play. Still, he is bad. He is really bad. If you want powerful classes, never play Necromancy Wizard in Baldur's Gate 3. And just like that, we came to the last wizard. It's Transmutation Wizard. There's a lot of stuff in him, but cool part, he can brew 2 alchemical solutions instead of 1. Very useful to brew some potions and lotions, petal. And also from level 6 you can create Transmuter's Stone. That's basically a stone that you can have for yourself or give to your party member. Most of them will give resistance to damage type of your choice, but there's cool ones like Speed Stone that will increase movement speed, or one of my favorites is Constitution Stone that gives proficiency in Constitution saving throws. Very useful for wizards, or you can give it to your Cleric if you're not using my builds. That is super broken with 3 Constitution saving throws always. And on level 10 you will be able to transform into little bird that can fly. Pretty useless stuff. So while being able to brew potions is cool, it's not super important in this game, and possibly when you beat this game in 100 hours you will just brew 10 more potions or maybe 20 more potions, so you can just buy them actually. Stones is really powerful, but you can kinda get same results with just spells and levels and builds. And he is definitely better than Necromancer, so he is right over here in OK tier. So that's my tier list, guys. What do you think? How would you change this tier list? Make sure to write in the comments and see you in the next videos.